Hey, beautiful people. Happy morning. I wanted to jump in, because I just had to film a bunch of videos and I have makeup on. Let's be honest. Let's be honest. We like to batch these things because the lip stain is already on. So I'm going to get my money's worth. But also because I was really thinking about the next few weeks. And I think that I woke up this morning with this, when you wake up and like you have a sort of sense of dread in your stomach. That used to happen to me a lot, especially when I had jobs that I really, really hated. And Monday morning was just like, oh, like, the TGI sort of lifestyle where you live for Friday afternoon, which thank God has not been the case in so many years that I've almost forgotten what it's like. But I woke up this morning with like, it's so weird. It was almost like why don't I have this sense of dread in my stomach? And I wanted to come in and talk to you about it because I know that for a lot of folks in my community, this seems to be the consensus with a lot of you. Things feel really crazy right now. People feel sort of overwhelmed. We're coming up on sort of the second year of homeschooling for a lot of folks, or like a wonky schedule. We're coming up on the second May anyway of homeschooling, wrapping up the school year, which has been really chaotic for a lot of people. People are sort of starting to go back to work, but some are, still at home, or people like me who never left home. But I'm just feeling this like there's like a community sort of, I don't know. Good morning. There's a community sort of like overwhelm, and like I've been asking you all, I've been picking your brains about stuff as we've been playing with copy behind the scenes, and people just seem to feel really over their heads right now. And I was thinking, so this is what I was thinking this morning, like I woke up with this feeling like, why don't I feel like that? Because here's what's happening around here. First of all, there's a playpen full of chickens next to me, so apologies. I tried using a mic in case that helps, but if you hear farm animal noises, it's because there are farm animals in my living room. Here's what's happening. So this is the last week before the book launch. Next week is the book launch, which is insane. Oh, wait. I can show you. Wait. Oh, ready? There's a box full of these next to me. Look, you guys. It's a book. I wrote a book. So next week is the launch, which means that this week is a little bit insane in anticipation of that. Next week is totally bonkers with like, one of the things that makes next week really bonkers is that there's going to be a lot of extroverting, which I love extroverting, but it really takes its toll on me. Then the week after is the 3-day Biz Elementals retreat, which will be virtual, but still it's a lot of holding space. The week after that is the 3-day Alchemy of Success virtual retreat. And then the beginning of June, the Magic of Bending Time, 30 Days for Exponential Wealth, the 30-day program starts. Probably could have planned that a little bit better, but in a way it all connects. So it all sort of makes sense. But it is a really insane month or so. And so I was thinking about, and I've heard, from other people who, launched books and launched courses and done all this stuff. Like, they're just like offering me advice and here's how you just get through it. And maybe I'm just completely blocking. Maybe I'm just completely blocking and in denial. But I feel like I've set it up so that I really don't feel that crazy. And I wanted to share some of the things with, wait, I forgot to tell you the most important piece. Sully and I, my husband and I, are starting a third business. We just got the go ahead from the bank. So we're starting a third business. And because we just got the go ahead from the bank, that means like we hit the ground running. It's a brick and mortar business. We're looking at spaces. We're looking at like 10,000 square foot spaces to lease. And as soon as we lease it, like the business has to happen. So like, I can't believe I forgot to tell you guys that. Really, really, really exciting. But it's like, what? Like I talked to my mother last week and she's like, she often says this, but I could hear her sort of shaking her head as she said this time. She's like, I really don't know how you do it. And when she said it that last week, I had this sort of like, did I really sort of screw the pooch this time? Like, did I actually bite off more than I can chew this time? And then I was like, no, I got this. But I wanted to share because that lineup of events is a fairly crazy lineup of events. And, and then Pity Posse is always 24/7 all the time. I don't even mention it anymore because it's just always happening behind the scenes. So I wanted to share some of the things. I was kind of trying to think this morning, like, why doesn't this feel crazy? And what can I share with you from it? Because I know that you have your crazy times too. Or maybe right now you feel like all the times are crazy. Or maybe you have a crazy time coming up. But I want to share some of the things that are really working for me. One is that, the first one is that I have an incredible team. And that's not something that happens overnight. That's something that's taken 15 years to manifest. But the consistent nurturing and tending of team as it grows, even when it was one person, is something that's worked really well for me, because there's a whole community of people who hold my visions with me and support me and the visions. And that makes everything just automatically feel way more doable. I'm not doing anything alone, nothing alone. And that really is a night and day difference. So that's the first thing, team. And in Biz Elementals, we talk a lot about how to get those first few team members, even when, you're not earning a whole lot of profit yet, because that is really, really important to manifesting, to just getting things bigger and bigger and better and better. So the first part is team. There are so many team members holding space for and with me right now that it just boggles my mind when I really think about it. And if it helps you guys, I don't want to go into it now, but if it helps you to hear about who is on Team Brit's projects, I would happily make a video about that. So you can see everyone that is helping and holding space and all of the things that I have delegated. So let me know if you want a video on that, and I'd be happy to make it. The second thing that's really working for me is planning ahead. So this week was a little bit of a light week because I know myself and I knew that I'd be still writing copy and creating things. So I made spaces in this week for all of the stuff that I've left for the last minute. It's a little embarrassing, but if you know me, this is just how I roll. I get a lot of inspiration at the last minute. So, and I need to be in the energy of something sometimes before I can really feel it and work with it. So I do a lot of stuff last minute because that's where I really plug into it and feel it. So I just leave myself space last minute. That's all. So there's a lot of spaces in this week for me to go sit in a coffee shop and write, or for me to have a clear morning to write, because mornings are the times when I write the most. So that's really working. And then next week, almost everything is off my calendar. Next week is literally launch events and self-care. So I'm getting my hair done, I think twice or once, getting a blowout so it looks all nice. I'm getting 2 massages in the launch week, one on Monday, one on Saturday. There's something else that I'm doing. I'm just getting support. And then there's not a friggin' other thing in that calendar except for kickboxing. Launch events, 2 workshops on the magic of bending time that I'm teaching. One for my friends' audience and one for Carolyn Elliott's wealth program. I'll be teaching the May business and mentorship workshop next Wednesday night for wealth, which I'm really excited about. And then launch events starting on the 13th, which is the day of the launch, which you might know. Everything else is out of that week. Everything else. Another thing, so the way that I've structured my time, and then the next week is the retreat. Everything bookending the retreat is clear so that I have lots of time around the retreat for the next week as well. And then at the end of the second retreat week, Sully and I have our first camping trip in the camper up in the recesses of Maine, no Wi-Fi, just completely unplug for 4 days and sit in the woods and on the lake and just be in wilderness. So that's how we're sort of ending the launch retreat cycle before I come back and start the Magic of Bending Time 30 Days for Exponential Wealth program. The other thing that's working is I'm being really clear with my asks. That's really hard for me. And I'll give you just a really quick example that I think most of you can relate to. And this is just one little thing that I notice takes so much energy for me. So here's a little glimpse into our home. Every night we run the dishwasher, and in the morning, the dishwasher is full of clean dishes. So every morning I wait for the teenagers whose job it is to unload the dishwasher to see that the dishwasher is full of clean dishes and to unload it so that we can then begin putting dirty dishes in it so they don't pile up in the sink. I have a thing about sinkfuls of dishes. I hate it, especially when they're just not going to the place that they should be going. Anywho, I'll spare you the domestic drama. So every morning, I wait and wait and wait for the teenagers to take initiative and unload the dishwasher before the sink starts filling with dishes. And then what happens is about 60% of the time, they do not take initiative. And halfway through the day, the sink is full of dishes. I've been watching every dish pile up, and I'm now annoyed. And I say, hey, freaking unload the dishwasher, would you? And now, because you waited so long, also put the dirty dishes from the sink, which they hate doing, into the dishwasher. And my hope was that they would just sort of learn by osmosis that if they unload the dishwasher first thing in the morning, then they don't have to put the dirty dishes in. But if they wait and drag their ass on it, then they also have to put the dirty dishes in. But it's just not working. And what happens, oops, that's my phone, hang on. I'm super proud because that was actually my reminder to film the videos that I filmed before this. So, what happens is that all day I watch the dishes pile up and I just get like more annoyed and more annoyed. So yesterday I said to them, listen, I need to get this off my plate. Here's the deal. As soon as you wake up, either take initiative for doing the dishes all by yourself or don't and then do the dirty dishes. But I don't want to have to tell you. Y'all know, y'all are really smart. 2 honor rolls, honor roll for both of them. Y'all can figure this out. I don't want to be the dish police anymore. So it's just like, I know this is like minutia, but it's something that kind of sucked my energy all day, most days. And I'm just loading it off my plate. And then I've loaded other things off my plate. There's a food pantry example for Pity Posse where I was doing something and I went to our food pantry coordinator and I just said, I know that I took this on. This is my lack of boundaries, but I need it off my plate. Like, I need to not be doing this thing anymore. And she was like, no problem. And she just took it off my plate. So the ask is really, really important. The other thing that I'll say is that I'm really mindful of like the little self-care pieces. How much water am I drinking? How much sleep am I getting? How much time outdoors am I getting? Am I putting my screens away? Do I have really good library books? That's a really little thing. But when I have really good library books, which means me taking the time in the day to go to the library and get good books, it gives me a really good way to check out that doesn't involve watching a screen. If I don't have really good library books, what happens is I just wind up watching Netflix for 6 hours, which isn't good. How much caffeine am I drinking? Am I eating really good food? So just all those little things. But I sort of think of it as like, when I have time periods like this, it's kind of like belting a bunch of really soft pillows around me. Do you know what I mean? I create my boundaries. I create really soft padding. And I create people to hold me up. And that's, I think, one of the secrets to how I can do, it's one of the secrets, the magic of bending time. Shameless plug, has the other secrets, but it's one of the secrets to energetically how I can do what I do, not necessarily the physicality of like actually having all of the things that I do in my time, but it's one of the reasons that energetically, especially with an immune disorder, I can do what I do and not burn out. Like I have 100% confidence that at the end of May, I will not be burned out. Yes. Sabrina, I actually got hooked because I didn't like my library books and I missed the time to go on Saturday. So I couldn't go yesterday because they're closed. And so last night I got hooked into The Serpent. Oh, anywho, but I also wasn't feeling well because I got my second shot on Saturday morning. So I was feeling really shitty yesterday. So I just allowed myself to watch Netflix. I didn't want to read anyway, but yeah. So I understand. It almost reminds me of like the way that the landscaper came the other day and like she'd already planted plants in the fall, but she did all this cool stuff for them. And it was all about making their growing environment more nurturing and effective. Like once you plant the plant, that's apparently to this city girl, that's not enough. You then have to continually make sure that the environment that they're planted in is really, really effective and nurturing for them. And that's sort of what I do. Like I planted all the things and now the seeds are all sort of coming up at once. And now I'm making sure that the climate and the environment is really nurturing enough to foster what I want to grow without me burning out, which is like the reason why I do the things that I do, to teach you all what I've learned about manifesting everything that I want and not burning out and not, sabotaging myself and not running myself ragged and not compromising myself. So I hope that those are, yeah, Sabrina, exactly. I didn't know it either. I'm like, what are you putting on them? And she's like, fertilizer. And I'm like, oh, kind of thought you just like put it in the ground and it grows, which is why we have a landscaper. There you go. Part of our team. So I hope this is helpful. Please let me know if you have questions about this. I so deeply want each of you to be able to be doing all of the things that you want and dream of without compromise, without sabotage, without burnout, without, running yourselves ragged or giving anything up. And, yeah, I mean, this is part of what we're going to be looking at in the Magic of Bending Time, 30 Days to Exponential Wealth. And I named it, I used the word wealth rather than income, because to me, wealth is about so much more than just how much money you have. Wealth is about your health. It's about your relationships. Like, I want you all to understand how to create exponential wealth in your lives and how to use the magic of bending time to really set the stage to make that happen. So I've been talking about it a lot. You don't need to hear any more about it here. I sent out a newsletter yesterday. It's up in Sacred Rebels. If you want to hear more about 30 Days to Exponential Wealth, let me know. We're enrolling in it now. You got some really awesome women coming into it. I'm very excited about it. Anywho, I hope you have a wonderful rest of your Monday. Thank you for watching this video. Please share it and tag other women if you think that it would be helpful for them. And let me know if there's something else that you want to hear about. Have a great day.